Hey Techno Studs, in our last video we talked about the DHCP version 6 process, and I used an example of the demo Pi 2 being the DHCP server. But what we can also do is we can specify one of these Cisco devices as being the DHCP version 6 server on the network. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to configure our Cisco switch, our layer 3 switch, our switch 1, to be a DHCP version 6 server. Initially, we're going to set up Slack with our DHCP version 6 server. But then at the end of this video, I'll show you what the differences are if we were going to set it up as being a stateful DHCP version 6 server. So I'm on switch 1 here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into my global configuration mode. And the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to turn on our router advertisements. And so that will this will essentially turn this device on, so it will have advertisements going out, and also Slack will be turned on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in that command that we've already covered, which is IPv6 unicast-routing. So that will need to be turned on. The next thing that I'm going to do is set up the pool that we are going to hand out these IPv6 or the IP version 6 information from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in IPv6 DHCP Pool, and then I give this the pool name. And so I'm just going to call this demo pool is what we'll call it. So now notice that my prompt says DHCP version 6 on it. So I'm going to then configure what's going to be a part of this pool. One of the things that I'll probably want on here, if I want any decent type of functionality, is going to be a DNS server. So I can type in DNS server, and then we'll give it a DNS server information. So 4860:4860:8888, right? That's one of Google's DNS servers, so we'll enter that in there. And then perhaps maybe another thing we will want to set on here is a domain name. So we can do the domain name, and I like to call my domains andy.lan, so I'll enter that into there. Okay, so now we've got the information that we want to hand out as part of this pool all set on here. So I'm going to exit out of here. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the interface and configure the interface that I want this to be sent out on, which is going to be VLAN 10. So I'm going to get into interface VLAN 10. And the next thing I need to associate that pool that I created the pool with the settings in it. Now I need to associate it with this VLAN 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in IPv6 DHCP server, and then the pool name. So I called this demo _pool. And then I'll hit enter. And now that pool that we created is associated with that interface. All right. I also need to, as these router advertisements go out on this VLAN, it needs to say that you need to check with the DHCP server. So that command was IPv6 and ND other config flag. And then we'll hit enter. And now those router advertisements that go out are going to say you need to check with the DHCP server 6 server. It will go through that discovery process and send out discovery to discover the DHCP version 6 information server. And then this will respond back because this pool is set on it. So this is so that the router advertisement has that flag turned on. This is so then it can start responding to the discovery part of the DHCP version 6 process. All right, so there you have it. That's how to configure it. Now we've got it set up, and it should be responding, and devices on the network should be getting that information. So I'm going to end, and we'll do a show IPv6 DHCP pool. is one of the commands we can use. And we can see the demo pool in there. So that's cool. And then show IPv6 DHCP binding and see if there's any bindings, and no bindings at this point in time, but that's how you would check that. Let's look at those additional configurations that we would need to do to change this from stateless to stateful. All right, so I'm on my switch 1. I'm going to jump into the global configuration mode. I'm going to get into interface, the interface that we're working with. So interface VLAN 10, we'll jump into there. And the two, really I just need 2 commands. First of all is IPv6 ND prefix, and then the address ranges that we're going to be handing out. So in this case, it's FC 00:1:10:/64. So there's that. And then I'm going to say no-auto config, and then enter that command. And then the other thing is we had that command on there for the stateless command, so to look at the DHCP server. I'm going to take that one off. So I'm going to take off the no IPv6 other-config-flag. Let's put an ND in there. And instead, I'm going to put in a IPv6 ND managed-config-flag. And now it's going to be sent out saying don't auto configure, and then it will give it a range as part of this pool, as part of this DHCP version 6 server. So that's how you set up a Cisco device to be a DHCP version 6 server.